All right, we are live. Hello, hello, hello. We are missing Monique, so you guys are stuck with me. Alec Carr is your host instead of Monique, and I am joined here by the great Dustin Hunt. We're so glad that he can join the show now at our new time. Um, and real quick, Dustin, why don't you introduce yourself, give yourself some plugs, and then I'll do my plugs, and we'll go right into our sponsors.
All right, what's up, everybody? And as you said, obviously Dustin Hunt, as you can see on the screen, at No Censor Sports. Follow me on Twitter if you would like to. Just listen to the show. Big MMA guy, NFL, MLB, pretty much everything, mostly except sports that are kind of not very popular in the U.S. to be honest. So therefore, just go ahead and give me a follow and give us a follow. More importantly, Fights Unwrapped. That's about it.
Yeah, and as always, guys, you can follow me. You guys know all my plugs, all the followers and listeners. You can follow me at Alex TD Carr for all my crazy off the wall personal opinions. You can follow me at Philadelphia Sport. Sorry, I got it wrong. You can follow me at Fourth and 26 Sports, giving you all the Philadelphia content that you need, retweeting headlines, stuff like that. And as Dustin said, please follow us at Fights Unwrapped. We are giving you true fight headlines, true fight news from true fight fans. And then you can also follow, if you're not following Unwrapped Sports Network, I don't know what you're doing. You can get all your local sports. If you want stuff from Chicago, we got a guy in Chicago. You want stuff from Miami, we got Miami. We got New York, we got Philly, we got Texas, we got anything that you need. So give Unwrapped Sports Network a follow, please. And we will go right into our sponsors. First one, guys, please check out rxhemp.com. One of our big sponsors there. A fellow fighter and fight fan, Carlos Condit, is over at RX Hemp repping their gear. He uses stuff religiously. Carlos Condit is a favorite, even though he's coming off that L. He is still a favorite here at Fights Unwrapped. Um, Please use promo code RXHemp-USN to get your 10% off your entire order. Again, RXHemp.com. Check it out for all your aches and pains. It's great, great stuff. And then we got, please visit mybookie.ag. Everybody loves betting, unless you're me. Everybody loves betting on fighting. I know Dustin does some fight bets. I know Monique. We all know Monique is a religious fight better. And got all of her takes. So please go to mybookie.ag today and use promo code USM100 for 100% sign up bonus. They are matching your first bet. Mybookie.ag, great website to lock in your bets. All right. Now, I did that quickly because I want to talk about Conor versus Dustin. The great fight. We were off last week, so we didn't get to talk about the amazing fight, the hype, the craziness, the drama, all to be let down by an injury. So, just for a recap, I know everybody knows what happened. First round, Conor is landing leg kicks left and right. He's throwing punches. He looks like the old Conor. He's aggressive. He's pushing forward. He's controlling the fight. Then he tries to pull into a guillotine for no reason and gets ground and pounded for this. What would you say, Dustin? The second half of the first round?
It was about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was about 2 minutes. He took a beating for about 2 minutes, then stands up, starts throwing, immediately looking like Conor again, and then the leg snaps. We're not going to talk too much about the fight. We all know what happened. We all saw it. We're going to talk more about the fun and the drama afterwards. Dustin, I want to get your take on this injury, how you feel about it. I want to get your take on the whole thing. How do you feel about Dustin's reaction after the injury? How do you feel about the injury? How do you feel about the stuff that Conor's putting out about the injury now?
First of all, I didn't like how Dustin responded right after the fight, but I kind of let it boil a little bit. And I started reading more and more reports and just more and more. And I was kind of thinking about it more and more. And really, I mean, Dustin's really just not the villain here. Like it's just like when Conor kept the fact that he kept going was kind of ridiculous. He was saying the UFC knew he was hurt. He had minor fractures, and I was like, well, if they know that, they'll provide the proof because they absolutely can. There's probably a physician that can absolutely, probably, just confirm it. So therefore, what you're saying is true. Like, let's see it. Like, I need a UFC physician, to actually say that, which I don't think they're going to. I don't think that's in their best decision, as a company, number one. And if the doctor cleared them, they cleared you. So if you had some micro fractures, let's just say you did, you got cleared to fight and you stepped in. You could have postponed it. You could have absolutely, in your rights, like, hey guys, I'm not 100%. I'm not going to lose again. Like, I'm going to go in here healthy. That's fully, understandable. And as long as he discloses the injury, I'll keep it constant. If you disclose the injury, I'm good, because then I can just understand. But it's like Dustin kind of has it right, dude. He's kind of sitting there and he's like, well, this dude's doing everything he can, to just diminish me. He's doing everything he possibly can, saying that he already had a broken leg, he already did this, he already did that. And you know what? First of all, that pulling the guillotine stuff, I'm starting to believe that leg was cracked already. Because when the hell was the last time you saw Conor McGregor think he can sink in a guillotine on a black belt against a cage? When did that ever happen, dude? So therefore, I kind of believe the whole his leg was hurt thing, because I've never seen him pull guard, and not especially against a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I believe he's played around with 10th Planet, and those guys are all no gi, so they're really good at MMA jiu-jitsu, dude. So therefore, it's very, very stupid for you to pull guard. So I kind of believe him. I don't know what exactly moved that his leg got hurt in the fight. I don't claim to think that actually happened. That's one thing I didn't like Dustin saying. I was like, well, I think I checked the kick. And I was like, Dustin, just shut up, man. Like, he's hurt. Whatever. Like, let it go. That's the only thing I didn't. You don't try to call your shot where you hurt him. I thought that was kind of stupid. But at the same time, I'm starting to believe it because Conor fought so weirdly. Why would you go to the ground? Why would you pull guard? I don't care if you think you had the neck or not. You shouldn't have done that. So my whole take is Conor's a bit stupid, and Dustin is kind of right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. My big beef with Dustin isn't really him saying that he was hurt. I hurt him. It was more the celebrating after an injury. I don't care what's said before a fight. I don't care what's said during a fight. You don't celebrate an injury. You don't celebrate a victory by injury. You just don't do it. It's a big thing with me. It's an old unwritten rule of UFC, of MMA, that, you say, I was beating the crap out of him in that first round on the ground. Sucks that he was injured. I hope we can do this again, so that I can prove to you that I'll just beat the crap out of him on the ground again. That's my big beef with Dustin. It continues his growing shadiness that's going on, and I'm not gonna call Dustin Poirier a scum because I don't think he is a scum, and I do like to use that word though, as Dustin knows. But he definitely got some shady stuff about him. I think you just don't say, again, I can't say it enough, you don't celebrate an injury victory. We were all over Chito Vera about it when he beat Sean O'Malley. I'm going to do the same. I don't discriminate. I don't say that I don't change for different people. It doesn't matter what level of fighter they are. You don't celebrate somebody breaking their leg in half. You just don't.
After you finish your take, I kind of want to rebuttal that. So after you finish your take.
Yeah, that's fine. And I'm not saying don't celebrate a victory. Don't say I won the fight. I was beating it up. Don't. You can still call him a scumbag. You can still say Conor McGregor's a douche, but just don't say I won. I hurt him. That's what I hate.
I think that's what I'm saying. After you finish, I'm a rebuttal about something about the shit talking. So
now
come back.
I will say too is for Dustin. You were doing so good. I mean, the whole thing frustrates me. We were all super excited for the fight. Conor actually looked like Conor in the first round too until he did that stupid thing. I have looked at it again. I actually watched the fight over again. He was definitely hurt when he stood back up. He was not putting weight on that leg, and when he did, it snapped in half. Now, when he got hurt, I can't say if it was during the fight, if he aggravated an injury during the fight. There's no proof of it. There is very little proof that he was injured of the fight. He's been posting pictures about, putting his leg in ice. If he had stress fractures, he would still be allowed to fight. That's what he's claiming. There's been no doctor backing him up, though, which is weird. But you know what, though? As much as people hate Conor McGregor, when has he outright lied to us about something like that? So that's my one thing. It's not in his history. Usually he does not bring up injuries. He never does. He has been injured in the past for 4 fights. I think he was injured. Can't remember which one it was, but he didn't even bring it up. So, I mean, it is weird for him to be bringing him up. I think he's pissed off. I think part of this is a fighter that's over his hill and doesn't have the same heart that he used to. He's trying to hold on to hope and hold on to his fame. But at the end of the day, Conor, you're worth $500 million. Just call it quits, dude. It's over. Just retire. You're done. You got nothing left to prove. You went on one of the greatest runs in MMA history. You beat some of the best, and you're on the Mount Rushmore of MMA. Like, you're done. Just call it. Don't do a Dustin 4 fight. I don't want to see it. I'm done. If you want to come back, Conor, just start fighting. Just do money fights. Fight the Diaz brothers. Fight some fun guys. I don't need you to compete for the title anymore. I don't need to see a list. I was just gonna say I don't need to see you fight Drew Bronx to get your ass kicked. I don't need that. Go ahead with your rebuttal.
Okay, the only thing I will go, because I remember you said no matter what gets said before a fight. First of all, Conor shit talking, especially to Khabib, was not okay. You know what I'm saying? It was not okay, and you can't expect a guy to not act emotionally when you talk about his father, you're talking about his religion, you're talking about, and then you got Conor telling him he's gonna kill him. I mean, dude, you kind of got to get. Yeah, honestly, I don't condone the way he acted, but at the same time, when you got a dude telling you he's gonna kill you, when you got a dude talking about your wife, and you got I'm sorry, man. There's certain shit talking that's not okay, and
I agree.
When you get once you lose in an embarrassing fashion, if you've been talking all that shit, dude, you better be ready for some taunting, like major taunting. Because I would. I mean, if I was in Dustin Poirier's position, I'd taunt him too. I mean, I'd be like, bro, you talked all that shit, somebody killed me. Like, like Dustin Poirier said, I have kids. I got a family. Like, you're telling me you're gonna kill me? Like, I'm just like, bro, I got people to go home to after this. And he's like, I hope he gets back safe to his wife, and I hope he gets safe back to his kids. And it's like, dude, but you gotta understand when dudes really Conor's crazy. I don't care what anybody says. The dude's crazy. He throws dollies through windows and shit. The dude will do some bad things to you. Like, don't think he won't. He punched an old man out. Okay, that's probably the lowest of the low. Like, he's capable of doing these types of things. So when he tells you he might hurt you, and Conor McGregor might mean it. So therefore,
he definitely went in there with bad intentions. He looked like he was trying to hurt him. He did. I mean, the whole thing about the charity really pissed Conor off. He attacked his money, and I'm not going to get into the pseudo research I've done about Dustin's charity because it's just not worth mentioning. But I'll just say there's a reason why Conor McGregor did not go through with the donation. I'll leave our viewers to do their own research, but there's a legitimate reason why. And when Dustin had the balls to question his decision about it, again, do your own research, figure it out because it's out there. But I mean, the whole I'm going to kill you thing, I get it. It's a new age. It's not okay.
It's not. It's never been okay. It's never been okay. Like, even Mike Tyson was the most ruthless trash talker I've ever seen, but he never did that.
It's never been okay. What I was going to say is it's never been okay. And with Conor, usually the trash talk isn't serious. Usually with Conor McGregor, it's just for show. I'm hyping the fight. I mean, even during the fight when Khabib was beating his ass, he was going, "It's just hype, man. It's just hype. It wasn't real. Like, settle down. Stop killing me."
But you're a guy like Khabib, man, and they're talking about your family, man, and your religion.
That's yeah. But all I will say is my biggest beef with Dustin. The shit talk was not okay. I agree. It was not okay. The wife thing was a little funny. I'm not going to kill Conor McGregor for that.
That was funny. But the killing...
Right. The killing stuff is not okay. He said something about his kid. That's definitely off limits. That's never okay. I would never condone that. But, I mean, the one thing again, he breaks his leg in half, and he tried to break through to the doctor to shit talk to his face. Like, the guy's injured. You don't do that. You saw his leg break in half. You know he's injured. Leave him alone. Talk to Joe. Just talk to Joe about it. Tell him just leave the man alone. Let him yell at you. I know it's in the heat of the moment. It's hard to do. But, anyway. I'm disappointed in the whole thing. I'm disappointed in Conor. I'm disappointed in Dustin. I'm disappointed in the fight. I'm disappointed in how Dana White's been handling it. I'm disappointed in the fans that are calling for Conor McGregor to be kicked out of the UFC because of what he's saying. That's just stupid. Never going to happen. I'm sick and tired of Stephen A. Smith. I don't want to hear him talk about fights ever again and how he said, if you were injured, they would never, ever let you in the fight because you're being a professional. You clearly don't know the UFC. The UFC has the most lenient injury policy in the entire sports industry.
No,
they say...
Because glad you brought that up. So I'm a boxing fan. I've said that a few times on the show. Teddy Atlas, great boxing commentator. Stop talking about MMA. Stop it. Because you doesn't
know anything.
You don't.
And Max Kellerman, same thing to you. You're boxing. You know you're boxing, but Max, when you said Conor McGregor's done, he's never coming back. He could never fight anybody ever again. You're an idiot. I'm sorry if I'm destroying our chances of getting on ESPN ever. But Max Kellerman, you're dope. I don't like that talk. Joe Rogan even said you were an idiot after you said it. So and to be honest, the whole coverage of the whole card that ESPN presented us with was awful. It was terrible.
Dude, I'm okay with him saying something stupid like Conor is never going to come back because that's just like a dumb thing to put out. But when I hear these guys try to walk through the fight, like Teddy Atlas, like he knows boxing. But I was like, dude, the way you explain a boxing fight doesn't even come close to the way you're going to explain an MMA fight. And I know, dude, because I watch both sports religiously. So therefore, I'm telling you that there are two different fights. The way the angles are, the things you can do, the distance, the certain skills. Boxing is so much different in the way you explain it, man. It's so much different. So I'm kind of sick of talking about it, to be honest.
It absolutely is. I'm the opposite of a lot of people. I was really a diehard UFC fan first before I was ever a boxing fan. Then got into boxing and then kind of stuck with UFC. So I'm a little bit different. I'm the opposite. I try not to talk about the technique of boxing. I've talked about it with Dustin. You know more than I do. I just like watching the fight. And that's Teddy Atlas. That's Stephen A. Smith. That's Max Kellerman. They're UFC fans. They're not experts. I just want our fans to know that. Please do not rely on them for information. Rely on us. People like us who are diehards and know the techniques and know how to break down a fight. Even though I am a self-proclaimed person like that. Anyway, we are moving on. I don't want to talk about Conor and Dustin Poirier too much. I don't want to turn this into a Conor Dustin show because it absolutely is not, and we're a week removed from the fight. We'll see if there will ever be a fourth fight. I'm crossing my fingers and my toes that no, there will not be. Let's just get the DS3 fight going. Screw this nonsense and story. I don't need it because when Conor comes back a year from now, it's going to be a horrible fight anyway. So let's move on to one of our favorite fighters, somebody we like a lot, We got Islam. I'm going to try to pronounce his last name. Monique's the person who does all the pronunciations, right? Mikhaev. Um, Beating Thiago Moises this weekend in the fashion everybody thought he would beat him. And his big time call out. I want to talk about this because this is a guy that Islam is to be feared. The UFC fighters in the lightweight division do fear him. They've been fighters dodging him left and right. Guys won't accept fights. There's documented guys backing out of fights, not accepting fights. This is blatant people running away from a bull who's just trying to run through the UFC. And he, after the fight, I thought it was a very smart call out because there's one guy that doesn't turn down fights in this division who's not a champion right now, and his name is Michael Chandler. I love the call out. I think it's a great fight. It's a guy, Michael Chandler's coming off a loss. He's got something to prove, and why not take on the young hot shot? But first, before I talk about it, because I could talk about this forever because I'm so excited, because I think this fight's actually going to happen. What about you, Dustin? What do you think about the call out? What do you think about Islam? What do you think about all the back outs?
First of all, this fight's probably going to happen now that he made it a point. Dana's probably going to set that up, man. I don't see why he wouldn't, because Islam is on his way. I mean, he's going, whether people like it or not. I mean, and the thing I like about Islam is that Khabib is actually arguing with him in the corner, being like, "Dude, I understand you can beat him in a kickboxing match. Stop it." He was like, "Put this dude on his back." He was like, "I'm kind of sick of you still over here striking." Then Islam's kind of like, "Man, I'm gonna strike anyway. I don't give a damn what you say to me." Like literally, like you can see his face. He's like, "I'm punching this dude in the face." He was like, "I don't care what you say." Now, does he go to the wrestling? Yes, he does. I'm not saying he doesn't, but he only does it when it's needed. Like when he's getting a really good flow, he'll take you down. But like, big thing about Islam calling out Chandler is when Chandler was like, I wanted to point this out because I said this in the chat. He said wrestling beats Sambo. And I was kind of thinking about that. If you know something about both sports, Sambo is basically an infusion of Greco-Roman. It's an infusion of Greco-Roman and basically judo ideals. So it's literally wrestling pretty much mixed in with old school judo. Put it that way. They can still do leg locks. They can do like arm bars. They can do certain limb submissions. The only thing they can't do, like jiu-jitsu, is choke. So therefore, here's where we get at. So with the wrestling versus Sambo. Sambo is a dominant sport. It's not jiu-jitsu. Here's a big difference between jiu-jitsu and a lot of these sports. Jiu-jitsu, you're on your back a lot. Like, it's actually okay to be on your back. Full guard means you're in control. And Sambo in wrestling, if you're on that position, you are not. You are not. If you are on your back, you are losing. That's literally Sambo wrestling. It comes off of literally Greco-Roman and judo. I'm telling you right now that if you're on your back in that sport, you're losing. So in that case, Islam is very formidable to wrestle. Very formidable. There's no discount he has with wrestling when it comes to Michael Chandler. Now, do I say Michael Chandler is the best fighter to go against him, or like someone like Khabib? Yes, because he's like Islam. He has like very good striking. He has very top-notch wrestling. So therefore, he's probably the perfect person to give a challenge to Islam. But that whole, Sambo versus wrestling thing, that was dumb. I don't know why he said that. I mean, he has to be more educated than me. I don't know. But so therefore, I don't know why he said that. But it's going to be a really good fight. I think Michael Chandler is going to test him. I think that he's going to cause some issues. I don't know if Islam's going to win. I want him to, because I think he's actually, it's weird to say it, but I think he's actually a more athletic version that could be. Like, he's a better striker. He's a little bit better. He's faster. Like, he's a little bit smaller, but he also makes up for it. So therefore, I think he's a super hard guy to beat, and I'm actually pretty excited to watch his climb, man. I can't wait to watch him climb up.
Yeah, I think this fight, honestly, we could see it get added to UFC 266. That's the Ortega Volkanovski fight in September. That would be fantastic. That would be one of the greatest cards of the year for fight fans. Not for, the casual fans won't really care that much about that. But for fight fans, that would be awesome. You got a co-main of Islam versus Chandler. Oh, that sounds fantastic to me. I sign up for that all day. For me, I think this is the perfect call out. It's more of what you said. For once, me and Dustin are agreeing on everything. This is a great call out. This is two wrestlers. I mean, Islam is Sambo, but two wrestlers going at it usually turns into striking. And what's great about this match is they're both also high level strikers. So no matter how this fight goes, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be great. I thought it was a great idea by Islam. Also, he forced Michael Chandler to. Michael Chandler was commentating on the fight, so he forced Michael Chandler to respond immediately. It was so smart. That's the game within the game of UFC and fights in general. He's so smart to make the call out. He even said Michael Chandler sitting right there. So, can he hear me? That's what he said on the podcast. It was genius. It was really smart. I want to look at the rankings real quick with this fight. Islam right now, after that, is now ranked ninth. He's within the top 10. Dan Hooker's trying to get in between this. I don't think it's going to work. Dan Hooker can go fuck himself. To be honest, he'll get destroyed by Islam. It won't even be fun to watch. And Michael Chandler's at fourth. I think this is great for Islam because he does deserve to be in consideration for the top 5 now that he's in the top 10 and he has beaten everybody in very easy fashion. If he beats Michael Chandler, Chandler drops to 5. Islam, you could argue Islam goes up to 4. I think this is perfect because that's what the top 5 should be, right? Because right now Tony Ferguson's sitting at 5 and he does not deserve that spot. Just in my opinion, he's on a losing streak. He can't get victory. He can't. Yeah, he's done. He's done. He's burnt out. He can't do it. It's not really his fault. He's been injured a lot. I'll give him all the credit in the world. A lot of it has to do with his injuries. He just hasn't been able to bounce back.
But that's what bad fights. He took bad fights.
Yeah, he took really bad fights. That is what the top 5 should be. It should be, of course, Do Bronx at top, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Beneil Dariush, Islam and Chandler. It should be within those. I think this is great. I really, really do. I think it turns into a slugfest. The reason why I love Islam so much is not just the whole corner, and that was hilarious watching Khabib. You could hear him the whole fight yelling and rushing to him, telling him. Yeah, he was like yelling at him, "Please take him down! Please take him down! Stop striking with this man," because he knows that a guy like Thiago Moises can put you out like that. He can graze your chin and you can go to sleep.
Basically,
that's the difference. My biggest difference with Islam and Khabib is Khabib is a much smarter fighter. He knows how to win. He knows his game plan. He's not cocky about it. He doesn't try to prove anything different than what he is, whereas a guy like Islam wants to prove that I can strike with the best of them, and he can, but that does put you in a very dangerous situation. He's also not at the same level of wrestling. He's slightly below Khabib, I would say, at wrestling. But he is higher than Khabib at striking. So, I mean, Islam is a force to be reckoned with. I can't wait. I think Stu Bronx is going to walk over Dustin Poirier.
Like when we said about Sambo, right? I'm going to tell you something. He is a Sambo fighter. So when you talk about wrestling, you might want to go ahead and watch Khabib. Watch him take. Then you can watch what a Sambo fighter looks like. So
yeah. So I think what we have, this is great. It feels like we're always talking about the lightweight division, and we didn't even make a thing for this. But I would like to see your thoughts on this, especially since we don't have a huge card to talk about. We have some extra time. So Dustin Poirier is fighting Do Bronx. So Dana White already announced it. It's happening. He's not waiting for this 4th fight. I don't think it's ever going to happen. He's fighting Do Bronx for the champion. He's going to make him fight him. Me personally, I think Do Bronx kind of walks over Dustin. I just think he's longer, he's better, and if it comes down to it, he's going to take him down because yes, Dustin is a black belt too, but he's not nowhere near the same level of black belt as Do Bronx, and that's only because no one is near the same level of black belt as Do Bronx is right now. And then you got, let's say, Islam beats Michael Chandler at 266. You got the perfect ramp up for Islam versus Do Bronx. I think that's the most interesting fight. I know Justin Gaethje and Beneil Dariush will kind of argue back and forth about who deserves to fight him first. In my opinion, sorry, they can both fuck off. Islam is the true number one contender, in my opinion, at this point in the division. I can't wait to see him beat Chandler because I think he will. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think happens with the lightweight division? What do you think about Dustin Poirier versus Do Bronx?
Dustin, first of all, I'm not quick to say fighters are going to run through people because there's only a few fighters that I know run through people. And
you know I got strong opinions, Dustin.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the only fight I knew someone was gonna get ran through, like for sure, was Khabib versus Conor. I knew Conor was gonna get killed. Like I was like Khabib's gonna try to hurt you, dude. Like he's gonna do something bad to you. That's the only fight I know that I knew someone's gonna run through somebody. I absolutely knew it. When it comes to the Bronx, when it comes to Dustin Poirier, first of all, Dustin Poirier is a striker. When I say striker. Like you're not gonna, I don't see you putting this dude out. Do Bronx is not gonna put him out on the feet. It's not gonna happen. I'll say that right now, it's not happening. So therefore, Dustin, I think the best chance he's got is to, first of all, he is very good on the ground. So it's not like Do Bronx can just come in and kind of just take advantage of him like that. I don't think that's really going to happen. I don't think Do Bronx is a big wrestler either. Is he a good jiu-jitsu guy? Sure, but he's not a big wrestler that's going to take Poirier down. I don't think that's really going to happen. I think if he shoots, Poirier's going to be able to defend. I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest. But when it comes to stand-up, if it stays standing, yeah, I'm going to tell you, Poirier might go ahead and leave with that belt. Now, if Do Bronx gets him in a bad position on the floor, let's just say Dustin Poirier decides to take him down for some stupid reason, like when Conor pulled up. We can talk, but I don't think Do Bronx is going to run through him like he ran through, let's say, Tony. It's not going to look like a Tony fight, I'll tell you that. But Dustin Poirier, I think he has a really good chance to win that title, man. He's like, you want to talk about momentum? A lot of the fight game's momentum. And you want to talk about momentum, Dustin Poirier's got the most momentum I've ever seen. I've never seen a guy have this momentum coming into something. This dude has won so many fights in a row against top guys, man, that are killers. And then he's going to look at Do Bronx like, all right, bro. Like, this ain't new to me. Like, I've been fighting everybody at the top. Like, you're just somebody that's there now. So, therefore, no, I don't think he runs through. I think he has a good chance to win. To me, it's 50-50. I mean, both these guys are really, really good fighters. Now, if I was going to pick somebody, I'm going to stick with my man Dustin the Dime. I'm completely honest. I think he's probably
Dustin picks Dustin. All right, I love it. The one thing I would just say about it, and we'll move on after this, is we do have a fight card this weekend, and it is fight week. The one other thing I would just say about it is that Do Bronx has proven himself in his top game of being able to, I wouldn't say dominate, but being able to have his way with people on the top. And I would say reach advantage goes to Do Bronx, and he is very good at keeping you away. That's all I would say.
It's good. I just think Dustin's a better striker. So, I mean, if he goes to the...
He is. I think Dustin is the better striker. I think if it goes to the ground, which I think it will, I think it goes Do Bronx's way. All right, so moving on, because we do have a fight week. We do have a fight card. Hold on, I'm trying to figure this all out. I'm sorry, guys. All right, we are back in the UFC Apex, Saturday, July 24th. And we got Corey Sandhagen versus the beloved TJ Dillashaw. I say that as an inside joke to Dustin, as we both very much dislike him. But before we get to that, because that's the fight we all want to talk about, that's the fight that's been in the making for some time now that TJ had to back out, we got to start at the bottom. So we got a pretty interesting fight to start off this card. We got Mickey Gall, who's coming off a loss, and we got Jordan Williams, who's also coming off a loss. Both guys are young fighters. Both guys have to prove to Dana that they belong in the UFC. How do you see this fight going, Dustin? What do you think about it?
I've seen Mickey Gall fight before. I mean, the other individual, I'm not going to say that I have too much knowledge on. One thing I knew about Mickey Gall is he's a grappler. Again, it's all about, like what Khabib said to Islam, stick to your guns, dude. I mean, I don't think he's as good a striker as Islam, so there's not even that much more argument. But therefore, he needs to win this fight. And unfortunately, I need you to take the GSP route after he got knocked out by Matt Serra. I need you to go ahead, grab them hips, and drag them to the floor. It is what it is. If you got to stay in the UFC, it is what it is. You can lead the pay-per-view. You can lead the style points, but Sugar O'Shawn them out. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, you can lead the style points to him. You got to win this fight. I think he's a good fighter. Like I don't think he should be out of the UFC. So don't do nothing stupid in this fight. I want to see him succeed. I think he's a good young guy. He just needs a little bit of development. I mean, he needs a little bit more experience. So therefore, I mean, like I said, dude, don't try to be outside of yourself. But I think Mickey Gall can take this one.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I'm definitely picking Mickey Gall. I think this fight might end in a submission in the second round or maybe in the third round. I love watching. I have seen Jordan Williams fight multiple times. I love watching the kid. He is a striker. He is a UFC striker. He is fun to watch because at any given time he's going to put the other guy in front of him out. My biggest worry is exactly what you said, that Mickey Gall gets drawn into a striking fight because he is young. His fight IQ, his biggest issue is his fight IQ. It's not the highest. He does tend to get drawn into other fighters' fights. I just don't think Jordan Williams is quite that good to draw a fighter into his fight. That's not easy to do. That's really hard work. It's the chess match within the fight. I just don't think Jordan Williams is that high level of fight IQ to trick Mickey Gall into striking with him. So I think this fight gets to the ground. I think we see him ride him out on the first round, and then in the second round he chokes him or does some kind of submission. I think this fight was, to be quite honest, a Mickey Gall platform. Because Dana White likes him, and he is a high level wrestler, a high level grappler in the UFC. He's just really got to work on his striking because it's just not there. But yeah, I definitely pick him in this fight. Okay, then moving on to the next one, we got Miranda Maverick versus Macy Barber. Miranda Maverick herself is on a bit of a hot streak, you could say. She has not, and this is in multiple fight promotions, but she has not lost since 2019, winning 4 of her last fight. 5 of her last fights. Her last one against Jillian Robertson. And then she's going up against the young phenom that we all know Dana White is trying to lift up in the UFC, Macy Barber, who's coming off 2 losses against 2 very tough opponents in Roxanne Modafferi and Alexa Grasso. So I am actually shocked that Dana booked this fight. Like I said, Macy Barber, he's trying to use Macy Barber as the next greatest thing in the UFC. She's young, she's talented, she's only 23 years old, not even close to her fighting prime. And he's got her again against another really tough opponent in Miranda Maverick. So I am still undecided on this. They're both very good fighters. Miranda Maverick can do a little bit of everything. She's more known for her submissions. And Macy Barber, we all know, is just good. Dustin, what do you think about this fight? I just think, for me personally, I'll give my thoughts on this fight. I'll let you go. For me personally, I think the Roxanne fight and the Alexa Grasso fight were too soon. Macy Barber's only 23. Not most 23-year-olds are fighting some of the top-ranked fighters in the UFC. It's not fair. They're not even close to their fight prime. Fight prime's usually in your mid to late 20s, even sometimes early 30s in MMA. So I think he set her up for failure. I don't like this. What do you think, Dustin?
See, here's the thing I have to talk about with the women's division. Okay, so when you say accelerated kind of movement when it comes to the fights, the women's MMA is definitely growing, and it's definitely a sight to see. I mean, I love female fighters just as much, and they're just as entertaining as male fighters. So that's not the argument here. The argument is here right now is women's MMA at the big stage is still very, very, very slim. They don't have a stack of talent yet. It's going to get there. It's definitely going to get there. Here in probably the next 3 years, they're going to have so much talent on that UFC roster, it's going to be hard to fight the thickness of it. They've already grown immensely. They already have a top 5, top 6 are very tough. So I'm not going to say that it's not tough right now, but I will say it's not thick enough to like the top 15. Like a lot of the girls in the top 15 probably could get beat up, honestly, through cross promotions almost easily. So it's not like the top 15 are like somehow elite. Now, when it comes to Macy Barber, again, there's no secret why Dana wants her to accelerate. Number one, she's exciting. She's a knockout artist. She's aggressive. There's a reason why he wants her to go up. So I'm not surprised that he's pushing her. But I also I kind of have to compare it to like Sean O'Malley. So like the bantamweight division in the men's is very thick. So he has plenty of opponents that are tough that he can knock out and make look good. Now, if you make Macy fight girls that are a little bit too low, it's almost like a fight no one's even going to think about. Not even fight fans, because no one's really going to look at it. So Miranda Maverick, first of all, she's super tough, very, very good with grappling. She's very strong. I follow her on Instagram. I'm telling you, the girl is very, very strong. She's a very hard trainer.
Scary.
She has a very good work ethic. It's very, very impressive the way she works. And Macy Barber is going to have a dogfight. I'm going to tell you right now. It's going to be a dogfight. She's not bad on her feet. I think I'd give Macy the step up a little bit on the boxing. But when it comes to a fight, Macy's going to be highly challenged in this fight. No, I agree with your temperament that he's moving her a little bit too fast and giving her too tough fights. But I'll just kind of round back to the division itself. If you don't give these girls big fights, they're probably fighting somebody you ain't never heard of. So therefore, it is how it is. Like women's MMA will grow, and I think it will grow. The only thing I will say is that's a little bit too thin when it comes to the top 15 to really get her someone notable. So therefore, it's kind of hard. But I get what you're saying. It is a little bit too fast.
Yeah.
But she'll be fine. I mean, if she loses again, I think it's going to be very bad for her because if she proves that Dana, you remember Paige Van Zandt, okay? Like that's probably the best example I can give. Paige Van Zandt was one of those fighters that Dana was dying to give a shot at the top. But every time he put her against someone a little bit too tough, she got beat up. I mean, it is what it is. And he wanted to market her so bad, but you can only market someone so much when they're losing 4 fights, out of 6. And it is what it is. Rachel Ostovich was the same way. If you remember Ostovich.
Yep.
Very, very marketable girl. And you know what? They put her against girls that were good, and she couldn't even beat Van Zandt. So therefore, it's hard to market these people if you can't beat top people, especially in that side of the sport. So therefore, it is what it is. But I think she'll do well in this fight. I think she loses. To be completely honest.
That's what I was just going to say. While you were talking, I was thinking about it, and you raised some really good points, especially, the division not being after the top 15, it kind of falls apart. And Dana needs to get these. He wants to grow the division. He's sunk a lot of money into growing the division, so he's got to do it now. And I just don't. I think this fight goes to the ground. Miranda's too strong. She's too big. She's going to take this fight to the ground and dominate and just dominate on top of her. If this fight stays standing, Macy, they both have the same reach. I think Macy has a really good shot of winning this fight if it stays standing. I just think as soon as Miranda gets into trouble, she's looking for it. She's shooting because she's going to put her in deep waters. And it probably goes to decision, but I think Miranda wins this fight. I'm not going to say easily because I think Macy's going to get her punches in. And Macy's tough too. She's tough on her back. She's tough on the ground. She's got some good wrestling skills. It's just that fight IQ at the age of 23 can't be high because you don't have many MMA fights under your belt. So for that reason, I'm picking Miranda. And we got to move on to our next fight. We got Darren Elkins versus Derek Minor. Darren Elkins is coming off a victory. I gotta be honest, I don't know much about this guy. Other than, he's a vet. He's fight some of the best guys. I've seen his list as Alexander Volkanovski, Ricardo Ramos, Ryan Hall. I don't remember any of those fights, bro, and I couldn't find them. But I'm gonna say he didn't win any of them at all or come close to winning them, because before those fights, not a lot of talent. We're not looking at a lot of talent in the UFC. We're talking about Robert Whiteford and Chad Skelly and guys that you've never heard of. And then on the other side, we got Derek Minor. He's on a 2-win fight streak. Is absolutely dominant on the ground. Looks great against Charles Rosa in his last fight in February. And he's the opposite. He's an up-and-comer in the UFC. This is a guy Dana's putting money behind, a guy in the featherweight division that could create lots of problems. Before I throw this over to you, I want to go over the featherweight division real quick because this does matter for ranking purposes. He won't be ranked after this, but it's important to pay attention to him because we got guys like Max Holloway atop, obviously, Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, we got Kareem Dami, Cater, Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett, Dan Ige, Edson Barboza, Jakazi, who should be ranked way higher than he is, Bryce Mitchell, Sadiq Youssef, and I could go on. It's a strong division. Not a lot of wrestlers is what I'm getting at. Not a lot of ground guys. We got a whole lot of strikers in this division right now. And that is setting, my point is, that is setting up for Derek Minor greatly. I think he wins this fight pretty easily. I think this fight could be over in the first round by submission or by knockout. I think he's just better than Darren Elkins. I don't think this fight really even is that close. It looks like one of those. To me, Dustin talks about it all the time. This looks like one of those pop fights. We're popping you up, man. You go out there and beat the guy you're supposed to. What do you think?
Actually, I know Darren Elkins pretty well. I watch him fight a lot of the time. He was supposed to be a guy that was supposed to come up. He was supposed to be a guy that was supposed to be box office. I mean, he should have been, but again, I put him in the category. I'd probably put Mike Perry. We shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I'm not surprised they put a younger guy against him because, again, I mean, a guy that should, coulda, woulda, that's good enough to beat and fight good people, but can't get over the hump. And unfortunately, Darren Elkins didn't. But like I said, Darren Elkins is an experienced guy. He's a tough guy. He's not a bad wrestler. He's a pretty good striker also. He's not horrible at striking, I wouldn't say. I mean, he's okay. Like, I'm not going to put him in the lead, but he's a little bit. He can rock with you for a point. But here, I'm not surprised they put a young guy against him again. Like I said, he's a Mike Perry. Like, you should have, could have, would have. And they're going to put you against guys who are proving themselves. So, unfortunately, you got to fight some of these young lions that are coming through. So, you kind of got the shit in the stick. But Darren Elkins, he's okay. I mean, I don't think he's going to win this fight. I just don't. But I'll put the young guy up there. But again, with the 145 division, the biggest thing I'll point out about the 145 with strikers and all that, the 145 is like the feeding division of the lightweights that can't get over the hump. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Most of the 145ers, guys who could not fight at 155 and got their ass kicked. I'm sorry to put that out there, but it is. It is what it is. And I think this division will technically get better one day. And the reason it's not as explosive is because the 135ers are not interested in moving up to 145 because, again, they're facing lightweights. They're not interested in going up because they're facing guys that are huge. They're just cutting down to 145 and not eating. So, therefore, the 145 division it's going to take a while, man. You got to get a lot of true 145ers. And again, the lightweights got to stop quitting the lightweight division and going down there. So therefore, Ortega needs to stop letting them, So therefore, the featherweight division is going to get there. Brian Ortega, I think, is a good one. I think he's a true 145er, in my opinion. He hasn't pretended to go up to fight, lightweights. Not that I've seen. Volkanovski is, again, one of those elite guys that are probably true 145ers. Again, like Max Holloway, probably a true 145er. It's just that they're very top-heavy. And the rest of the division is a lot of lightweights who just can't cut it at 155, which I understand. Is what it is. But
I get what you're saying. I'm sorry, I got to rebut to that. I get what you're saying. Max Holloway, I would say, is a true featherweight. It was stupid for him to ever try to go up. I don't think he ever belonged up there.
45. He's a true one. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think he's true. Volkanovski, you could argue because he's not, but he is shorter of stature. I mean, he's shorter than those guys. A lot of those guys up at 155. And thick-wise, he definitely has the build for lightweight. And then guys like
that's what I'm saying.
Right, he can't fight.
He can't fight.
He can't fight. He can't keep up with those guys. But we all know he's a pretender champ anyway. And listen, Derek Miner's probably not going to take over the division. He's not going to take over the division. I don't think that's going to happen. But there are a lot of strikers in the division, and theoretically, wrestlers can come in and create problems for these guys.
You got some mad problems with Volkanovski, man. I'll tell you what,
dude. I used to love him. He let me down. If you let me down, then you create an enemy for life, man. You don't go out there and talk all that shit that you won that fight. I don't care. Just stay quiet. Just stay quiet. If you just stay quiet after that victory, I would still be riding. I would still be mayor of Volkanovski Town like I used to be. It's just his. And he goes, I watched the fight 4 times. I won. I scored it myself. I won. Dude, no one. Just shut up. No one's going to expect you to say you lost that fight, but no one also asked you if you rewatched the fight and you still scored you a victory. No one asked. You volunteered that information. Shut the fuck up, dude. You lost the fight. We all saw it. Dana White was shocked when you won. He was ready to give the belt to Holloway. You could see it when you watched the video. He's ready to hand the belt to Holloway. And then all of a sudden, he's like, wait, what? What the fuck? Anyway, we don't need to talk about Volkanovski because we got more fights to talk about. This is a really interesting fight because these are 2 fighters I really like to watch. We got Kyler Phillips versus Raulian Paiva. Let me try this. Frasto, I think is how you pronounce it. We got 2 really young guys, 2 entertaining guys, 2 entertaining strikers. Guys, we're talking about Kyler Phillips, the Matrix. Like, this guy throws crazy stuff. His Carmen Elite victory, he won in elbows from back mount. Like, he won with elbows from his back. That's impressive as hell. He beat Yandong Song, which is a huge victory. It's nothing to be laughed at. Like, Yandong Song is a guy that's been in the UFC, knows how to fight. Now he's coming against another really, really tough fighter in Raulian Pavia, who is coming off of 2 victories. Now, neither of these guys have really fought the top of the top, and it's to be expected because they're both in their mid-20s. But I'm ready to see some bombs thrown in this, some crazy overhands, some crazy strikes. This fight's going to be entertaining. Not a lot of people know who these guys are, which makes me want to watch more. I'm going. I don't know who to pick because it's tough. I'm going to pick Tyler Phillips. I think he's the more rounded fighter. I think he has the wrestling. He can wrestle. I wouldn't say he is a wrestler, but he can wrestle. And I think he can hold that in his back pocket if this fight gets too dangerous on the feet. He can take this and win on the top. Again, what are your thoughts on this? This young guns, these guys are on the road to hopefully championship.
When it comes to these like 2 bomb throwers, man, it's don't, if you're a betting guy, don't bet on this fight. It's just 2 people that aren't good to bet on, like, because it's someone's getting knocked out. You better be very confident if you bet on this. I kind of agree with the Phillips thing. I mean, he probably could take him down. That's if he wants to. I mean, let's be real. When a striker is facing another striker, there's a lot of pride. Like, I'm just gonna be completely honest. It's a lot of pride, man. They just like to go out and fight. And the smart guy will win, though. If Phillips is smart, if he's smart, and this camp is smart, they will tell him, "Hey, man, I know you can bang, and but if you start getting a little bit of an advantage and you start kind of beating him up on the feet, put him on his back. It is what it is. And that's mixed martial arts. As much people don't like it, and they think it's boring. It's mixed martial arts. If you get an advantage on the feet and you start taking advantage of a stand-up fight, if you're a good wrestler, please put him on his back. Beat him up because you have the advantage, dude. And it's very tiring. Grappling is the most tiring thing in combat sports. I don't care what anybody says. It's hard. When you're on the bottom and you got a guy your size putting his weight all down on you, it's hard to get up with a full breath. Like, you're probably not going to get up with the same energy you had before. So therefore, put him on his back. Phillips, if you're smart, put him on his back, beat him up in the first round a little bit. That's the best round to put someone on their back is the first round, especially if they're a striker. They get tired. And then the second round comes, and you might be able to beat him up on the feet and make him dominant looking, like you did something. And you did, because you tired him out. So therefore, dude, just please take him down. Take him down early. Beat him up against the cage. Press your body on him. Be a smart fighter. Don't be a young guy who isn't smart. Press him against the cage.
Yeah, I entirely agree, but I am excited to see some crazy bombs thrown because these guys can both throw from the outside and they can both throw crazy. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Both of these guys are both of them are hopeful to be ranked coming up soon. Both of them are hopeful to make a run. I'm not there yet on evaluating their talent to see if either of them really could make a serious run. Too early in their careers, like we said, the prime doesn't really hit for MMA guys until their late 20s, early 30s.
Probably
just because
28 to 30.
Yeah, like 28, 29, 28 to 30. I would even say 28 to 31, just because for those who don't understand it, with MMA, you got to get fights under your belt. They're all coming from different backgrounds. Most of these guys who are usually just grapplers or just strikers. So you got to get fights under your belt when you're and experience under your belt doing this sport with other disciplines you're not used to. So that's why the prime is a little bit later, because the experience, the smarts, the IQ take longer to build up, which is part of the reason why I love it. All right, we got to move on. We got 2 more fights to talk about. So sorry, guys, we're going to go a little bit over the hour. It's a really entertaining card, so it's well worth it. Next, we're talking about the most entertaining women's division, in my opinion. We're talking about the women's bantamweight division. If there's one division that is stacked with talent in the women's UFC, it is the women's bantamweight division. We're talking about Macy Chiasson versus Aspen Ladd. This fight is great. I am so happy Dana booked this. Macy Chiasson is coming off of two huge victories against Shannon Young and Marion Renault. Um, huge decision victories for her and unanimous decision victories where she easily won those fights. And before that, she had lost one, but before that was on a streak. Really kind of just beating everybody she faced. And then we got Aspen Ladd, the championship hopeful, the one that wants to fight for the belt, the one who's coming off of an impressive victory against Yana Kutsunkaya, who we just saw lost again, but is no joke of a fighter. And she beat up Yana. She made Yana look bad. Um, I honestly, I'm gonna go with Aspen Ladd. I know she's only coming off of that one victory. She's not technically the more hot fighter right now, but Aspen Ladd, in my opinion, is one of the best women fighters in the entire UFC. I think she's very well rounded. I think she can beat Macy Chiasson. The only thing that's going against her is Macy Chiasson's got a ton more experience than Aspen Ladd, um, and could use that to her advantage for fight IQ. Macy Chiasson is no joke. She's nothing to laugh about. She is a fighter with a very high fight IQ. I just think Aspen Ladd takes this fight. What do you think?
I can agree. I can agree. I'm a lot bigger on younger fighters sometimes because I mean it is what it is. The older fighters are more fighting to keep the younger people away. That's mostly what really happens. If you're getting in fights like this, I've said it multiple times. These young guys are mostly pitted to win, and so therefore younger guys, younger girls. Yeah, I'd go with Ladd.
Yeah, I honestly think this is kind of a joke of a matchup. To be honest with you, now that I'm thinking about it, because Aspen Ladd should be fighting Holly Holm. Like that's
Yeah,
that's who she should be fighting. She's fighting an opponent that's ranked way below her. Macy Chiasson again is the hot fighter. She's proven that she's really good, and I'm not going to take that away from her. But Aspen Ladd should be fighting up, not down at this moment in time. She should be getting ready to fight Amanda Nunes for a title, which she'll inevitably lose. But that's that's who she should be getting ready to fight for. Is either Holly Holm or Amanda Nunes. So that for that reason, I really do think she wins this fight. I think it goes to the decision. It's not going to be an easy fight to win, but I think this does go to the decision. All right. Any other thoughts on that fight? Otherwise, we'll move on to the much highly anticipated TJ Dillashaw versus Sandhagen.
No, I'm very excited to go and talk about TJ.
I'm gonna let Dustin go because I might have my rant of the week in this. So I'm gonna let Dustin get off his chest whatever he needs to. This is again we're talking about TJ Dillashaw against the great Corey Sandhagen, who should be fighting for the title shortly, especially after he makes light work with TJ Dillashaw. But Dustin, take it away.
I'm not a big fan of Dillashaw at all, to be honest. He did probably one of the worst things an athlete can do, in my opinion. I know you can take anabolic steroids. I know you can take certain PEDs. When you blood dope, I mean, you're making a decision. Like this isn't like you're taking a pill. It's not like you're taking, something, a substance. You're literally putting fresh, oxygenated blood in your system, which people don't understand how important this is. Because if you swing just as hard as you did in the first round, in the fifth, when a guy's tired and he's not on PEDs and he doesn't have anything to help him, there is potential for major injury. That's what people need to understand. When you swing and fight just as hard as you did in the first round and the fifth, that is horrible. That is horrible advantage, and it's deadly. That's what people need to realize. That is deadly. Like that's stupid. After fighting 25-minute round, like 25 minutes, and this guy's swinging just as hard as he did in the first and the 23rd minute. Dude, that's very, very hard to keep up with, and it's probably one of the biggest forms of cheating you could ever do. I'm just gonna get that out the way because T.J. Dillashaw is a schmuck, and I don't think he should be allowed to fight after that. To be honest, that's one of the fighters I would say you shouldn't be allowed to fight ever again. But we'll go ahead with on the fight. Now, I respect TJ, beyond the doping when it comes to his ability to fight. He's a good striker. I mean, he's a pretty good wrestler also. He's gonna present some problems for Sandhagen because Dillashaw is not a slouch on the stand up or the wrestling. Again, even after my comments, he does have some talent. I just think that he definitely cheated in the worst way ever possible. And I don't think he had to. And that's what actually makes me mad the most, because I don't think he really had to cheat. So therefore, but Sandhagen is a killer. He is a straight killer. That dude is looking to knock your head off every 2 seconds. Like if you give him an open opportunity or an opening, he's gonna try to take your chin off of your face. And ask Frankie Edgar. That was probably one of the worst knockouts I think I've ever witnessed. I was like, dude, that was just nasty. That wasn't even fair. Wasn't even fair. And I love Frankie Edgar. When he did that, I was like, how are you going to disrespect my man like that? The guy was like a legend. And you're going to knock him out like that? I was like, that wasn't even cool. Like, that was a flying knee when he tried to go in. I was like, that was stupid. Like, you embarrassed him in front of his kids. And I was like, you shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, I can't stand TJ. I think he's a little snake. He came from alpha male. I agree with Connor on that, dude. Uriah Faber should have saw that shit a mile away. So therefore, I don't like his personality. I don't like him as a person. But as a fighter, he's formidable, and it's not going to be easy. But I think Sandhagen's going to overwhelm him, especially if he's not taking it. So I'll go there.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this up real quick. I'm going to make it a quick rant. I promise, guys. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I really won't. But I'm going to go and take what Dustin said just to the next step here. Because what TJ Dillashaw did wasn't just the worst kind of cheating you can do. It's banning worthy. It is what got Lance Armstrong, and it is what got Lance Armstrong in trouble. It is what got his medals taken away from him. This is ban-worthy cheating. This is stuff, just so people understand, Dustin did a great job of touching it, but just to take it another level, when you blood go, when you revitalize yourself with oxygenated blood, what you're doing is you're then creating more stamina for yourself. So what you're then doing is allowing you to work out longer, work out harder, fight longer, and fight harder. You're literally giving yourself more energy. And we're not talking about caffeine type of energy. We're not talking about that. We're talking about muscle endurance. So when people say, yeah, when you blood dope, you don't get really big, you just have more energy, you can fight longer, that's not at all what it is. It is what allowed Lance Armstrong, it is what allowed him to win bike races. It is what allowed TJ Dillashaw to look like one of the greatest things we've ever seen until he fought Henry Cejudo, who is just a fucking beast. It is what allowed him to throw punches. It is what allows him to look the way he does right now, because I don't believe for a fucking second that he quit. I think he's still doing it. I think part of the reason he backed out was because of this. I think this is bullshit. I think he shouldn't be allowed to quit. Cheaters cheat. That's what happens. You don't come back and just not cheat again. All the guys in baseball that were doing anabolic steroids when they got caught were still doing anabolic steroids. That's why there was that whole second wave of people doing steroids. Cheaters cheat. That's what they do. And TJ Dillashaw looks like he's still cheating. It looks like he's. I can't stand the guy. People knew about it for years and years and years, but they never tested. He never tested hot for it. It is just absolutely outrageous that he is even allowed to be in the octagon, because, like Dustin said, he could kill somebody with what he's doing. If in a fifth round he has the same amount of energy as the first round, muscle endurance wise, and that's what we're talking about here. That's what happens. It's not the caffeine. I took a pre-workout, so now I can work out really, really hard. That's not what this is. I can punch you, I can kick you, I can grapple with you, I can take you down just as well as I could because I still have the energy for it and you're tired. That is not okay. It is screwed up and he shouldn't be fighting ever again. Now I digress for a second and collect myself because I am really angry that TJ Dillashaw has been allowed to fight. Well, we talked about this when it was announced that he was reinstated. I am beyond livid about this. This is not okay. It's a smudge on the UFC. And if people actually knew what blood doping was, they would be livid too because this is so messed up. Livid. But I'm going to say this. This division, this bantamweight division, is the best it's ever been. And I know Demetrius Johnson is one of the greatest ever, and I still think Demetrius Johnson in his prime probably beats a lot of these guys. But overall, depth-wise, this is the deepest this division ever been. And TJ Dillashaw thinks he's going to walk in here and fight probably, if we're being honest, probably the guy who should be the true number one contender because Petr Yan should be the champion and Aljo should be ranked third. So we're talking about this guy, Corey Sandhagen, long, lanky bantamweight, power for days, knockout, one punch knockout power. The guy that has really, not great on the ground, but has really good takedown defense. TJ Dillashaw is not going to get inside. He's just not. I'll give TJ all the credit in the world, like you said. Part of this is the blood doping. Part of this is just TJ's talent because he does have talent. He is not afraid to take punches to get inside. He's not. He will pressure you. He will get inside, and he will get his. We've seen him do it throughout his entire career. It's why he is so good. Besides the blatant cheating, right? So we know that. Corey Sandhagen is unlike any other fighter TJ Dillashaw has ever faced in his entire career. He has never seen a Corey Sandhagen. Henry Cejudo is not the same style of fighter as Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen will keep you out. He will keep you away, just like he did against Frankie Edgar, and he will let you come inside when he wants to, and he will knock you out. And that's how I see this fight going. I see TJ getting pissed off with leg kicks, body kicks, with hooks, with being kept outside with the jab, being kept at length, and then all of a sudden he's allowed to come in and he gets an overhand, an uppercut, a knee landed on his head. I'm hoping this fight ends early. In reality, it probably won't, so I'm not going to be stupid and call for a first-round knockout, so that would be awesome. I think this fight goes to the third round. And I think Sandhagen, who is also one of the smartest strikers in the UFC, keeps him away for 3 rounds, and then all of a sudden TJ gets excited because it's loud inside, and then he's on his back, asleep. I don't think TJ, if he gets inside, he's really dangerous in this fight. He really, really is, but I just don't see that happening. I think Corey Sandhagen is the better striker. I think he's got the ground defense to keep him away that way, and I don't think even TJ gets a real takedown shot in him. I don't think he has that in him to shoot for a takedown and get it against Sandhagen. And I'm gonna pick Sandhagen in a third round knockout in this fight. So, you got any more thoughts about this fight? Because the one thing I will say is that this division is being held up right now, and it's really annoying. But I think Corey Sandhagen, and we'll see Petr Yan and Aljo too. Aljo kind of confirmed that. And then Sandhagen's next in line after he beats TJ Dillashaw. So it's an exciting time for the small guys in the bantamweight division. I love watching the small guys fight. I love watching the small guys and the big guys. Big guys are going to sleep. Small guys move so fast. So entertaining. With that, we are done talking about this card. We're done talking about this fight week. I am so excited for the UFC. We got a lot of good things coming up. We got a lot of good shows coming up. Let's just take a look. Next fight card after this one is we get a little bit of a lower card. We got Hall versus Strickland. And then we got UFC 265, which we will have a fantastic, I assume highly heated, fantastic show for UFC 265 because the Derek Lewis Hirogane show. But I am excited. With that, we're going to say goodbye and happy fight week, everyone. Thank you, Dustin, for coming out. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys.
All right. See you guys later. Appreciate you coming.